Hi! We need to talk about Spider-Man Far From Home. Overall, my wig is still pretty securely glued down, but I think that we should talk about this movie anyway. Because it's been a minute since I've done anything like this, and what am I supposed to do, not talk about cute superheroes? My name is Tyler Hartman, and this is the spoiler-heavy review of Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm going to assume that you've seen the movie, so if you have not, please don't watch this video. I'm going to be spoiling everything that happens and everything that doesn't happen. So in this one, we have Jake Gyllenhaal, and he is fresh off of Brokeback Mountain, and he is ready to fight crime with Spider-Man.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Sounds like a good time to me. I thought the movie was alright, but my biggest complaint is probably that they spent too much time diddle-daddling with the high school and field trip elements of the film for like the first hour or something, and I was kind of just ready to watch Jake Gyllenhaal or Tom Holland take off their shirts. Like, that's what I came for, that's what I paid money for, that's what I bought popcorn for. Like, I didn't like riding the bus in high school, why would I want to see it on film for an hour, you know what I'm saying? Especially following how epic Avengers Endgame was, it's a little bit underwhelming to go into a movie and then watch high school kids make the same jokes over and over. The one credit I will give the high school scenes of this movie is that all the people who got snapped away in Avengers Infinity War are 5 years younger now than the people who stayed alive, because obviously they were not snapped away and they were just alive to live in the absence of all their loved ones for 5 years. So there's like the competing love interest for Mary Jane is this guy who's 21 years old now named Brad. And he's like completely gone through puberty and is 21 years old and can drink and everything. And there's kids like trying to be on his caliber, including Spider-Man, like at 16 trying to like play in the same league. I'm just gonna get to the meat and potatoes of this because I think the most interesting and important part of this movie is Mysterio and how he's portrayed. If you ever played Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, you were not surprised in the least at how this played out.
People of New York, I am Mysterio.
And I'm sure that there's comic nerds out there who knew exactly his origin story as well, but for someone born in '97, the PS2 game where Mysterio is like taking over New York, and actually I think there's drones in that game too. Maybe this movie was drawing on inspiration mostly from that game rather than the comics. I will admit there's still some doubt that he might be a good guy. I mean, they're really pushing for it in the trailers and setting it up as like the multiverse.
Beck is from Earth, just not ours.
And maybe Mysterio came from some Earth that's not our Earth, but a different version of our Earth, and then just came to help save the day. But then I saw someone on YouTube said that Mysterio is a master of manipulation, and of course he would tell us that he'd come from a different version of Earth, just to try to fool us into thinking that he was legit. I can't really say I was shocked that once Jake Gyllenhaal got the glasses from Spider-Man and was like, oh, are we in the clear now? We can like do our evil plan. I wasn't really that surprised because it's Mysterio. I mean, who else in that movie was I supposed to take these elemental threats as like Marvel movies are better than that now. They're not just gonna throw some random creatures with no personality and that's not gonna be your villain. Who was gonna be the villain? The fire elemental? No. I guess that's the point where the movie picks up, because before that you're supposed to be sold on this like buddy cop adventure, let's go take down all the elementals, even though 3 out of 4 of them are dead and we just have to deal with the fire one who's supposedly the most powerful, but no. Once we have those flashbacks in the bar, everyone's like cheering Jake Gyllenhaal on, or Quentin Beck his name is, for fooling Spider-Man, getting the Stark technology back. That's when the movie starts to pick up, and I thought it was actually really fun and self-referential when Mysterio's like wearing the motion capture suit. It's like, that's exactly what Jake Gyllenhaal would be doing on set if he really was supposed to play the character of Mysterio and was supposed to be flying through the air and everything, so that was kind of funny. I do have a question about how those drones work though, because we saw they have turrets on them and they can cause damage and blow up pillars and buildings and that sort of thing, but how are they supposed to make water splash like across the whole villa or like flood out the Venice waterways? Like, I don't understand how they could have done that, but I'm sure it's possible, and it's not like the craziest thing we've seen in a Marvel movie in the last couple of years, for sure. Coming out of the movie, something that I thought was a little bit problematic about this movie is that Marvel kind of has a reputation for not having good humor, or at least humor that's not timed properly. So you're trying to have a serious scene, and then Marvel is known to put humor in that scene where it doesn't really need to be, and it kind of undercuts the emotional punch of that scene. In this movie, I wouldn't say it was so much that problem. Like, they moved from one humor problem to another, because it wasn't so much like something serious was happening and then a joke was thrown in that destroyed the moment. It was more like there was just a lot of humor thrown at you that was just a lot. It was just a lot of humor and not very much of it landed. I don't want to be mean because I like Spider-Man, I really do. I love him and I like this movie. But like, how many times are we supposed to listen to the same joke and have that take up our screen time? We're like, boy, this is a 2-hour movie, why are we an hour in and nothing's happened except for teenage banter and jokes? A couple of them are funny, I'll give them that, like when Ned and the girl fall in love on the airplane together, like over the course of an 8-hour trip. Like I thought that was comical and actually really relatable. Things like that seem to happen in high school all the time. People would just get in relationships and fall in and fall out like it was just left and right, hot and cold, change your clothes like a girl, however that Katy Perry song goes. At the end of this movie, my wig was still bobby pinned on, I would say. It was threatened to be blown off in the one scene where Mysterio is casting all these illusions and Spider-Man is trying to fight his way through, but he can't see what's real and what's not, and the illusions can be people, they can be things, they can be places. The illusions can be nouns, basically, and Spider-Man's just trying to fight his way through them, and then zombie Iron Man just comes up from the grave and is like, oh, with the spiders crawling out of his eye sockets. That was disturbing. That was awesome. That was incredible. One of the best things I've ever seen in a Marvel movie, hands down. Mysterio had me shook. And I shouldn't be surprised. Nobody should be surprised because Jake Gyllenhaal is an amazing actor. Ever since Brokeback Mountain, the boy had my heart, for sure.
Hell yes, I've been to Mexico. Is that a fucking problem?
I'm definitely not surprised. Jake Gyllenhaal has never done something that I didn't like or that I didn't think was amazing. Never played a role that I didn't think was excellent. His role as Mysterio definitely kind of called back to his Nightcrawler days. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that movie. Overall, though, that man's never done something wrong. I hope he wins an Oscar someday, but even if he doesn't, I don't care because I love him so much. That type of relationship, you know? Spider-Man gets the opportunity to build his own suit at the end of this movie, and it's kind of cool because he has all the different, like, 3D printed things that he can assemble and choose what he wants and what abilities he wants to have, which ones he doesn't. And I thought the new suit was very aesthetically pleasing. I thought it was very cool, it was very different, it was very unique. I really liked the black and the red, it looked really great. I was kind of wondering why he had the opportunity to put whatever abilities he wanted in his suit, and I didn't really see anything that crazy in the final battle. I think he might have had like some electric webs at one point to like take down the drones and like a giant web. Like the Iron Spider legs were kind of crazier than that, I thought. But maybe we'll see a lot more moving forward, I don't know. I am going to start taking a tally of how many shirtless men scenes there are in Marvel movies, and this one clocked in at 1 scene, which is great. I mean, it's either 0 or 1. Typically, I don't think any Marvel movie has had more than 1. Fingers crossed, I mean, say your prayers. And for some characters, we only got to see them shirtless once in the entire franchise, but it's okay. I'm fine. I'm not bitter. The nice thing about this movie is even in the slow parts, even in like the BS high school humor parts, you still get to wonder which one would I rather cuddle with? Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal, like one of each, one at the same time, like one after the other. You kind of get to think about these sorts of things, and then when things get interesting on screen, you can come back and get involved in the story again. So that was pretty cool. That was a wonderful experience, 10 out of 10 for sure. I was definitely living for like the morning news announcements at the high school because that's so reminiscent of my middle school and like they called it TV3. You turn on the channel 3 on your like boxy TV on the wall and it would turn on and give you these news announcements with like a faulty might work, might not green screen. Overall, really like this movie, really like Tom Holland, really like Jake Gyllenhaal. Fortunately, they're both very great actors, and if they weren't, I might not have liked this movie so much, but they saved it, they made it worth watching, and I would recommend watching it. Like, I kind of wish we had another Marvel movie this year, but that's sort of greedy because we've already had 3. We have 4? 4 per year? 5? Like, come on, X-Men. Come on, Fantastic Four. Come on, Captain America, Falcon. Anyway, that's basically all I have for today. Feel free to hyperlink some GIFs of Tom Holland taking off his shirt, or Jake Gyllenhaal if you'd like, either one. And I will pin my favorite GIF of shirtless Tom Holland or Jake Gyllenhaal taking off their shirt.